Yo, what is up? So, I just got done watching the new Mortal Kombat movie. It came out today, and before I get into anything, I just want to say that if you are a Mortal Kombat fan, go watch this movie. Like, support it, okay? Because I'm gonna tell you, you could tell that, like, love and, like, care was put into this movie, and people really, like, whoever was working on the movie really enjoyed what they were doing. So, like, support that. Okay, because this one deserves it. Like, if the 95 Mortal Kombat can get a sequel, then, and that's what I'll be making a lot of comparisons to, because that's about the only thing we can compare it to. This movie is, go support it. All right, go watch it. Maybe watch this video and then watch it, or watch it and then come watch this video. It doesn't matter. Now, I enjoyed it on HBO Max. I didn't go see it in theaters. I have a subscription, so, I'm going to use it. I want to pump those numbers. And, if you can't get out to the theaters, you're concerned, or theater isn't open near you, get on that HBO Max, bro. Go see that movie. It's actually almost the same price as like a ticket price at this point. And you get all your drinks and snacks at home. Anyways, going into the movie, this movie, man, is freaking amazing, okay? This is a video game movie, and it blows everything out of the water, man. The opening fight scene, like the way it opens up, and just, it's non-stop. This movie doesn't stop. It's basically fight, exposition, fight, exposition, fight, exposition. But that works. Like, it works for this movie. Because that's what Mortal Kombat is. It's a tournament. It's a fighting tournament. And actually, they don't really do like how the 95 one did, how they brought, everybody to the tournament and had the tournament. No, they kind of have the same base setting of, like, Outworld has won 9 out of the 10, and they're about to come, they just got to win one more tournament. But for some reason, like, Shang Tsung's like, nah, I don't feel like waiting for that 10th one. I've already done 9. I don't want to wait for a 10th one. So let's just go and kill all of the champions that are going to be on Earthrealm before the tournament. That way it's like an automatic forfeit, because they won't have any champ. And that's, all right, I'm down with that. I don't need like a huge plot for my fighting movie, so I like that. And each team basically has someone who can teleport you wherever you need to be. So it's literally not a problem to, like, just kind of go from, like, fighting place to fighting place. But it still looked kind of organic. And that's one thing I do want to say. Just about everything in this movie happens, like, organically. As odd as that sounds, considering, the subject matter, everything happens pretty, it makes sense. The only thing that I thought that, was kind of a little weird was, like, the first fight between Kano and Sonya. Because, I'll tell you right now, man, Kano is freaking hilarious. Like, I am such a huge, like, I'm not a huge fan overall, right, of, like, the movie Kano, but the first half of it, and honestly, like, his whole character, like, yeah, he was true to his character, but he was freaking hilarious. Like, he was quipping, he's the quipper of the movie, always got all sorts of one-liners, and I mean, a couple other characters, get some lines in there too, but he's just always got something to say, and he was hilarious, and he helped move the movie forward, and everybody that's involved in, like, the Mortal Kombat, like, it kind of made sense. Like, the only one that was born with their mark was Cole Young, who's the new character that's introduced in this movie, and you're basically just, like, sitting beside Cole Young as we're going through this, and he's figuring out everything that, the whole Mortal Kombat and everything that's about. All the fights, man, are done really well. You can obviously tell when some, characters or some actors were more, kind of versed in the fighting because there were longer takes. So it kind of, it made you appreciate them more. And the quick cut fights weren't awful. It wasn't like shaky cam and like you couldn't ever see what was happening. Like, you still knew what was happening. So the action was done really well, and it was paced really well. I do have like a couple of gripes, but it's really not a whole lot. But I do want to go over, so like everybody that gets introduced in this movie, right? You've got Jax, Goro, Sub-Zero, Shang Tsung, Scorpion, Cole Young, new. Liu Kang's in there, Sonya Blade, Kung Lao's in here, Mileena, Nitara, Cabal, and General Raikou. Are all in this movie. Some notable absences, obviously, is freaking Johnny Cage, but he, they touch on that. But like, there's a couple of them where you're just like, where's my man here? But obviously, you can't put everyone in this movie because we got to make sequels. And the way that this movie ends fights, Jesus, I love it. This movie is what Mortal Kombat should be. Like, I'm not gonna say it's perfect because this is coming from like a Mortal Kombat fan. I'm not like a diehard fan, but I do really enjoy the source, and I do enjoy like the games and everything. And I enjoy all the media. So, this movie was great. Like, and I hate, so, all right, I thought the Mortal Kombat 95, right? All right, it's for a 90s, like, video game movie, it's not bad. It's not a good movie, but it's not bad. It's Paul W.S. Anderson. If you've watched any of his movies, you know what you're getting. And then the second one was just, like, hot garbage. So, this movie is just, like, the pinnacle. It's freaking... It's awesome in comparison to what I think you could get out of this right now. Now, obviously, you could move forward and expand it more. But the way that they end all the fights, it's brutal, bro. Like, just about everybody gets to do, like, a fatality, and, man, it shows. They are so awesome. I really don't want to spoil them because I want you to go and watch this movie, and it's worth it. Like, this is something that I have zero problem. I actually wanted to watch it first myself and then with my wife so I could enjoy it again. I am all about this movie. It's amazing. Like, I had a lot of fun with it, and I would definitely recommend it. Like, you know what you're getting in a Mortal Kombat movie, and it literally delivers. Like, it's exactly just about what you would want. There's a few misses, like the story. They literally give you like little story beats, like little background on each of the characters, and like it happens rather organically. Again, the only one that was weird was like Kano and Sonya fight in the desert when they're trying to find the temple, and it's just like a forced fight because he's just like, oh wait, you want to fight? And then they fight. Like, they obviously weren't getting along the entire time because Kano's kind of like a sleaze and a douchebag, but he was, he hadn't done that too much like at that point. But because Sonya, when she starts, she doesn't have her mark. She doesn't have a marking, and so they kind of make it felt forced. Everything else felt pretty legit because it made no sense. Like, this is the guy who's leading you to the temple because like they apparently don't know where it is, but Kano does. He leads them to the temple, but like, you want to kill him before you get to the temple? Then how are you gonna get to the temple? Like, that didn't make any sense. Like, it was kind of stupid. But then it also kind of made it look like Kano, you could argue that, like, Kano wanted to, like, die. Like, he didn't, he doesn't want to be alive. But, I mean, the way that his character turns, it's, it's, all that character development kind of goes out the window. Let's see here. Anything else? Okay, so, all the character designs, right, look awesome. Okay? I'm a huge fan of all of them, except for Scorpion's. I didn't like Scorpion's. His is more of a traditional Japanese armor, I think. And I mean, I could totally be off. I'm not well versed in it. But it looks more towards the part. But, like, Sub-Zero's looks so clean and so, like, cool that I was like, oh, man, Scorpion's is going to look really awesome, too. And his kind of looks a little bit clunkier to me. Again, that might be how it is. And that's alright. It didn't detract from the movie. But I also wasn't like, hell yeah. Like, I don't know. And then Cole's, his is what it is. Like, you had to design something. It doesn't look bad, but it's not, like, memorable either. But he does get these cool little tonfas, and, you don't really see tonfas anymore. So that's kind of neat. Let's see. The one thing that was kind of weird, though, was, like, whenever Sub-Zero and Shang Tsung, like, when you're introduced to Shang Tsung, whenever they're talking, like, Shang Tsung reminds him that, or just, like, calls him Bihan, and he's like, I'm not Bihan anymore. I'm Sub-Zero. Like, he's been Sub-Zero. Like, why do you need to remind Shang Tsung who the frick you are? Later, he calls everybody out by name, but it was really, one of those moments you could tell, like, you're just telling the audience, this is Sub-Zero. It's like, all right, that's cool. Whatever you need to do to get that across. Yeah, let's see here. Let's see. Everything. Oh, Reptile. I didn't mention him. My fault. He's in the movie. He was pretty cool for a minute. Let's see. The one character I didn't really like, though, I didn't really care for Raiden. Like, fuck Raiden, man. Like, gosh, for somebody who's supposed to, so in this version, right, he cannot, interject. He can't put himself in between the fight between Earthrealm and Outworld. But, like, he does. And then he doesn't. And he does, and he doesn't. And he says he can't, but he does. Like, it's annoying. Because it's like, key moments have to, like, when key things happen, he's just like, I couldn't do nothing. But then there's other moments where he literally prevents stuff from happening. So it's like, what? And I'll go into that, but I want to talk to a certain point where it's like more so of spoilers. But it was really weird how, and I mean, I've done light spoilers, but I don't want to give like grave spoilers till later. But Raiden like talks shit, like, and he's lost 9 out of the 10. Like, you don't talk shit when you're the losing team. And he's like talking mad shit to Shang Tsung, and he was talking shit to like the fighters, which made no sense because if you know that these people, like, you know, you don't want to lose Earthrealm, like, and you plan on training these people, like, what took you so long? Like, why did you have to let them all come to you instead of you going and getting them? Like, it's a little weird there, but maybe it's like, oh, he can't interject in it again, but again, he does, because he tells he's exposition machine for everyone. I don't know, it was a little weird. And the one thing that kind of detracted from Kano, is he had a lot of pop culture references, and mind you, like, they're hilarious, like, hilarious, but they're obviously references, you know, like, they're obviously, like, pop culture references, and you're gonna get a lot of them. None of them are like, what is that? But it's just one of those things that, like, it immediately dates the movie. But again, it doesn't really matter. It was funny. Like, they worked. I think that's really... No, I got more. Here we go. Alright, so... in, like, a key fight, like a major, like, I guess, group fight, where, you know, Shang Tsung somehow gets into the temple, and then I know how he does, but, you know, I don't want to spoil it. He gets into the temple, and then, you know, like, all the fighters are basically fighting. They all kind of, like, go to their own little areas. But the only one that shows, like, go to a different area is Cabal and Liu Kang. And then, like, then it just cuts between the fights, and, like, Sonya and Milena are in this, like, random-ass room. It's just like, okay. I'm sure it connects, but it just seemed a little weird. Yeah, that's really all I have. All the characters, like, so... you have to, all their abilities are from the mark, and that's their arcana, or arcana, however you want to pronounce it. And honestly, like, I thought that was a cool thing. I thought it was a cool way to, like, introduce, like, oh, your characters can have powers and abilities, and here's why. I thought that was neat. So, the markings, you know, and they have to discover their powers, and they all, like, discover their powers in a different way. And honestly, you know, they all worked. Like, I didn't find any of them that were, you know, crap. You know, all of them are pretty good. Jax, when he first gets his arms, they're cute, man. They're ridiculous. I was really scared at first. I was like, this can't be it. But that gets fixed later, so it's all good. I think I've already said that whenever a fight ends, man. No, I haven't said this. When a fight ends, it ends so satisfying. Like, and it's always the best part of the fight. Like, the fight's always engaging, and you're like, oh, yeah. And then, like, whenever the end happens, you're like, oh, what? Like, man, some of the fatalities were just amazing. And others were, I mean, none of them, like, I'll touch on one fight, but other than that, all the fights were really solid. Anything else here? Oh, so whenever Sub-Zero, like, this is something I just wanted to kind of make a note of because I thought it was a really awesome thing. And they really do a really good job of making him, like, ridiculous. Like, he is a expert fighter, and it shows. And they do so well with him. And every single actor and actress in this movie, like, did a really good job. I didn't really, like, dislike anyone. Like, everyone did their part very well. But anyways, he's scary, man. Like, he just goes to town on people and just runs through them. He definitely has, like, the most fights in the movie, and he definitely has the most victories, if you want to get technical. Whenever he is, like, anytime he freezes somebody, they give him this, like, horror look, you know, of like, oh my God, I'm getting fucking frozen. And he always has this look like, yes, you're getting frozen. You know, he's like confirming it. And it looks so like sinister, and it just works so well. Like, the movie is really good. I really, really enjoy it. And everything's just done so well. And I mean, overall, right, before I get into the spoilers, everything is so much better than any Mortal Kombat movie that we've gotten. And I mean that, like, animated wise and everything. Even like the Mortal Kombat, like, little show that was like on YouTube for, you know, a while back, which was pretty cool. This is definitely like cream of the crop. Go watch it. All right. Now I'm going to talk about spoilers, and the spoilers are including like who gets killed, things like that. I'm not going to go over all of it, but there's just things that I want to talk about that are definitely spoilerish. So this is your warning. Here come the spoilers. Okay. So I freaking hate how like Raiden couldn't engage, but then like would engage. Like, he put up a force field to stop the initial fight between, you know, group versus group, and then obviously Kano, you know, so Kano starts out like on the good guys team, and then, you know, Shang Tsung offers him more money basically, and then he switches sides, which was fine for me. I liked that Kano was on the good guy side. I was like, oh, this is kind of neat, because he was funny. And then when he switched, I was like, all right, you know, that's cool too. But he does interject in, you know, the meddlings of it, but then there are points that he doesn't interject, and he's like, oh, I couldn't do anything. And it's really weird, because so like Kung Lao gets his soul taken from Shang Tsung, and it all happens in like a matter of like 30 seconds, like the whole fight does. And basically, so Raiden is teleporting all the heroes out of like the temple to like this, you know, in-between space. And whenever he does that, Sub-Zero stops Cole from being able to leave, from like getting teleported out there. And then Kung Lao gets teleported to Cole from Raiden to, I don't know, maybe help him? Or maybe Kung Lao could teleport himself. Maybe it's just something I missed, because he teleported himself back when he, you know, when he first came back. So maybe it was his own doing. But let's say he teleported out there. Okay, either way we're looking at it here. Raiden teleports everybody out. Okay, Kung Lao just appears out of nowhere, teleports maybe by himself or by Raiden. And Shang Tsung just like grabs him, and he's like, yo, bitch, I'm taking your soul. Raiden, hello? Why aren't you teleporting my boy Kung Lao out? He didn't teleport Kung Lao out. If he teleported Kung Lao, he teleported Kung Lao to Cole Young. So he killed Kung Lao. Because, I mean, you know, Kung Lao gets his soul taken. And that sucked. Because Kung Lao has a really good fatality against Natira, and it was so good. Like, just about every character gets their moment, you know, and I think they did that really well. But that was the only part of the movie I really didn't like get. Like, you just teleported everybody out. You're meddling, bro. You're saying you can't meddle, but then you are meddling. And then what? Like, how did Kung Lao get there? Did he teleport himself? Which again, I think he might have done. Or is that like all because it was lightning, and like that's Raiden. So did Raiden take him out? Like, what? What about my boy Kung Lao? Like, I get that somebody needed to die on like the good guy side, but like, dang, just the way it happened, it was like, oh, okay, like that's lame, and I thought it was lame. But at the same time, you know, sure, but it made me sad because I like Kung Lao. Maybe that was my problem. I don't know. Also, Goro, right, gets like 30, well, I mean, he gets more time than 30 seconds, but like, he kind of goes out like a bitch too. Like, Cole Young is shown this entire movie is of like just getting beat up. Like, he just gets the crap beat out of him. Like, he can take a beating. And that's kind of like his, you know, Arcana, you know, like his suit like envelops him, and then he gets tonfas, and then he can like, well, at first, any of the hits that are like, that he gets hit with, he absorbs them, and then like redirects that energy into like his attacks, but the movie kind of forgets about that. But like when it's introduced, that happens, and then he gets these tonfas, and the tonfas are pretty cool, and they're super sharp, and you know, he just cuts the shit out of Goro, and then like cuts his head off. Like, Goro gets like just demolished, and it made me sad. I obviously I think it was to like show that Cole, you know, was like a warrior, but I just feel like Goro went out kind of like when he went out in the Mortal Kombat like 95 movie. I thought it was hilarious. Like, he definitely went out more of a punk bitch that way, but I thought it worked. But yeah, no, he just gets after, you know, scaring the family for a minute, like, he just gets demolished. Really, I think that's it, man. I love this movie. I'll probably go back and watch it. I might add to this later, but this movie was super dope. The ending, oh yeah, they do end the way that it ends, right? They have that final fight. Scorpion comes back out of nowhere. They don't explain Scorpion much at all. And if I was not, like, if I didn't know that it was Quan Chi that, like, brought him back and stuff like that, I would be like, what? Like, because at the beginning, Bihan, like, attacks his clan, wipes out the Shiryu, right? And then, you know, Scorpion's like, I'll be back. You know, Hanzo's like, I'm coming back, son. But he dies. But then he gets, like, just whisked away. And it's just one of those, and like Cole Young turns out to be like his descendant because they hid like his smallest child, his little baby, like his wife hid the baby before the Lin Kuei like eradicated the clan. But it was just so like, he came, I guess like Cole somehow activates the kunai, you know, that was Sub-Zero's, I'm sorry, that was Scorpion's. And then, like, Scorpion and Sub-Zero have their little fight, you know, their in-fight. And it was cool, you know, it wasn't bad. But again, his armor just, I didn't like his armor. But maybe they wanted to keep it, again, it's probably traditional, or they were like, hey, I don't want to, you know, make it too confusing. Because Sub-Zero had a dope armor. Like, it was nice. Yeah, that's really it. I love the movie. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. If you could, you know, and let me know if I should do more of this kind of stuff. I don't know, I kind of like reviewing stuff. Let me know. And hey, that's it. Go watch the movie, okay? All right, see ya.